Alright, well, this is a video kind of what I've been doing for a while, and it's just really been really hard to do it just because I have so many records, and then they were all stored away in my closet, and I finally found a space for them in this front room, which I've been really looking for a part to do. Because if you don't know, this room is kind of awkward, where this is my main room, my bed's here, my TV's behind me, my movie shelves, bookshelves, figures, right? But then you have my bathroom, which also has a built-in closet to it. And the closet is terrible, by the way. I can never get in there. You do a lot of work in there. That's the goal for this week, along with a few other goals. But yeah, I just been meaning to pull these records out of the front room because I don't listen to them. And the reason I don't listen to them because they're in the closet. It's the same thing with some of my movies in the closet. Like, I don't watch them that often because I'm not looking at them. Or over here, I'm like looking at that going, oh, I should rewatch that sort of thing. It's kind of a mess being a collector. You always got stuff everywhere, but I'm working on doing that. So let's start with some of my newer ones. I picked this up actually while I was on a date the other day. Guardians of the Galaxy, the deluxe vinyl. Found this at an antique shop in pretty good condition. I have the other two movie soundtracks, the second one and the third one, and so as soon as I found this one, I was like, all right, completing the trilogy set, which to a lot of people, this is their favorite out of the movie soundtracks. I'm still going with part two. I really like part two. Part two is my favorite out of all the movies, anyways. The three definitely gave it a run for its money. Then we have the Doobie Brothers Walk the Road. This is their new album that I pre-ordered. I listened to a couple tracks on it. It's good. A little more country than the Doobie Brothers I recognize. Here we go. We got The Wall, one of the greatest albums of all time. Probably my favorite album of all time, maybe. If you've never seen The Wall movie, that is also fantastic. Look at the art here. This is great stuff. So it's a great album. Great to have that. We have Dark Side of the Moon, which is another great album. So yeah, a lot of great stuff there. So, Dark Side of the Moon is an incredible album. Yeah, Pink Floyd has so much good stuff. There's actually, I just bought tickets for a theatrical event for them in theaters. What is this? What is it? Metallica album is this? Enter the Sandman. I think that's the name of it. I always forget some of the Metallica albums. So this is a great album. Got remastered for its 30th anniversary. So that's great. The Go-Go's, the greatest hits. This was on clearance at Target for $6. And if you're a vinyl collector, you're someone who's just getting into vinyl, trying to figure out where do I get vinyls at a good price. If you're not looking for used ones, because I'll be honest with you guys, I don't really collect used ones. There's sometimes I'll buy them, but I rarely do it because I just feel weird about touching something that's worn and used like that. If they're in good condition, maybe that's something, but a lot of times you go in these record shops and the wear and tear on them is just not great. These are the ones near me. And so if you're looking like, how do I get some kind of newer stuff from like a major retailer? Well, the best place to go is to Target. And Target will have a bunch of vinyls. And then if you really look deep in the electronics section, this doesn't go for every Target, but I've noticed this in a few Targets. In the back, they'll throw some vinyls. They'll be just sitting there on clearance. Sometimes they're like mainstream stuff, like great stuff. We'll talk about some of that in a minute. But yeah, I got this on clearance for $6. And most of the employees are pretty nice. That so what I do is if something's on clearance in the Target section, sometimes it gets put there on accident. I will take it over to a mainline scanner, and then I will scan it. And when I scan it, if the price doesn't match, I'll show them the clearance picture in the electronics section. They'll usually just let me get it. Some Target employees aren't that nice, but mine are a lot of the time, so I've been able to do that. I got Bob Marley. This is one of the ones I got for Christmas. This is the best of Bob Marley, which it's kind of weird. That Bob Marley movie really was not good, but it kind of got me back into his music and kind of rediscovered some of my love there. Michael Jackson, Thriller. I mean, of course, you gotta have this one. This is one of the great albums. This is how bad my vinyl collecting is, though. Like I said, these are all been in my closet. I thought I didn't have this, and I was actually thinking about rebuying this. So glad I checked. This is Linkin Park's new album from Zero. Um, I like this album. I like their new singer. I'm not totally in love with everything they're doing right now, but I do like that new album. We got Notorious B.I.G.'s Greatest Hits. Love Biggie, my favorite rapper of all time. This is another thing I will say. If you're looking at some of these and you're like, who is this guy? Because there's just a lot of stuff here that just does not connect from one eye to the other. My music plays all over the place. It's kind of like people ask me when they find out I really like movies, like when they're trying to get to know me and stuff. They're like, "Oh, what kind of movies do you like?" And my response is always, "I just like movies. A good movie is a good movie." That's the way I feel about music. Now you will not see a lot of modern stuff in here. That's just because I don't like modern music. It doesn't connect with me in that way. I think it's also electronic that I don't hear the person. I hear a machine. It doesn't feel as rich and as genuine as some of this other stuff that I'm showing you. That doesn't mean it's all bad, but it does mean that it just isn't for me. So we got Let It Be, which is a great album. Love the Beatles. I think actually next year I'm going to start each month by one of the Beatles albums just to get them complete, because I felt dirty not having all the... I feel like unclean just not having all the Beatles albums. I joke a little bit, but there's... I love the Beatles. It's very important that I do that at some point. We got Revolver. This one is another one I found on clearance at Target for like $1. So Coldplay, Magic Moon. This is probably the worst album I own. I do really like Coldplay, but this album was not good. It's kind of an interesting album though. It's got like 3D glasses within stuff. Just not a good album though. It's just bad. I don't want to say it's fully bad. There's some good tracks on here that I actually like, but overall as an album, I just did not care for it. And what's crazy is Coldplay did this really gross stunt where they put this album as like a theatrical event where they just played the album with lyrics on the screen. It's not even the artist playing the new songs. And you pay like $20 to go do that. That's crazy to me. I almost made a video ranting about that because I paid to do that. I didn't do it, and I should have, but yeah. We got, this is another one, Billy Joel. I actually paid $250 to see this doing concert. This is how much I love Billy Joel. Him and Elton John, I can't pick between those two. Those are my two favorite artists of all time. And I love his stuff, but there's only like 12 albums and I need to finish them. So I got 52nd Street, which is definitely one of his best ones. Innocent Man, another one of my favorites right here. Purple Rain. I mean, who doesn't love fucking Purple Rain? This is like the GOAT of all Prince albums, of course. Great. And I like the movie, too. I need to do... if they ever do that... Are they working on a Prince biopic? If they ever do that, I am going to review all of Prince movies. That's going to be something at least the 3 that I am aware of. I think there's more. Maybe I'm not right about that. Elvis, the Christmas album. I have the Essential Elvis Collection, which is basically all of his like greatest hits and stuff. It's on 4 sides, so 2 LPs in there. Pretty cool stuff. Alright, this is the nice stuff right here that I really love. I got Avatar The Way of Water on vinyl. Pre-ordered this. Love this album. And I love the score to these movies. I need to get the score to the first one. I don't know why I don't have that actually. And then I got the soundtrack, Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, the soundtrack to the game, which is not a good game. Like, it's okay. Like, I didn't get into it. But this is a great piece, and I love Avatar, so I picked that up. Pre-ordered that, actually. And then I got the Michael Jackson Off the Wall album, which is one of the greatest albums, like, ever. For me, like, this is... Also, I'm gonna be real, I also, like, look how nice this is, but it's also just awkward, because you pull out the album this way. It's always hard to remember which way you're pulling it out. But, yeah, that's my Michael Jackson to me. That was, like, this was Michael Jackson when he really got big off his solo career, because, of course, he'd been in the Jackson 5 and stuff. But he started his own solo career and then, became later on. But to me, like, that's Michael Jackson to me. Like, that 70s disco kind of funk. Not the Thriller, Beat It, like, you know, I like that stuff. Of course, I have the Thriller album, right? I absolutely adore that stuff. Some of those songs are some of my favorite songs is, but you know, if you're asking me what's pure Michael Jackson, to me it's the '70s stuff. I need more Bob Dylan albums. This is the only one I have, shockingly. Free Willin' Bob Dylan, but you know, one of the great ones right there. Bought that when the Bob Dylan movie came out because it really got me on that kick for that album. I got Hotel California from the Eagles. Not a big Eagles guy. Nothing against them. I just not got into them like that. But that is one of the best albums of all time. Another one of my favorite albums right here. Black Parade, My Chemical Romance. The Goo Goo Dolls, Greatest Hits. Yeah. That's cool to have. I don't really have anything to say about that, actually. I forget where I even got that, to be honest. I think I bought it at a Walmart, but I could be wrong. Some of these, like, they have a story. I got them, you know. But some of these are just, like, I don't even know where these came from. We got Love Gun, Destroyer. These are great albums right here. I love Kiss. I got those when I was in a really big Kiss phase because I saw them in concert and it was pretty cool. Got the West Side Story movie soundtrack. I think this is one I bought day one. Oh, I didn't. Why is this stuck in there? We'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, great album. Great soundtrack. Rachel Zegler, despite what she gets hate because of the Snow White shit, like she's had some dumb shit. She's an incredible actress, and that movie just made her a star for so many. For me, it just wow. And it's a movie I didn't even like that much when I first saw it, but it is a movie that I totally did a 180 and have really, really reevaluated and seen multiple times and just, whew! Wicked. This is the Broadway version, not the movie version. I do need to get that version too, because I listened to that one more than the Broadway version. So I got the Sister Act on vinyl. I think this was a Walmart exclusive, but I do love me the Sister Act movies, and I do love me some old school Whoopi Goldberg. Whoopi Goldberg now, take her or leave her, but she, some of her classic stuff is her classic stuff. Beetlejuice, the Broadway version, which, so I know, some of these Broadway shows I would love to see, but I don't live in the right area for that, and so, like, stuff like that I love to go see, but I can't go see, and so the closest I can get is listening to the vinyl, and I just wish more stuff would be released Hamilton style. It's kind of stupid that it's not. Anyways, we have Footloose. Love this soundtrack. Footloose to me is one of the most underrated movies because I think it is so relevant. It is a movie about religious groups coming in and banning dancing, which is obviously not realistic to life, but it is realistic to life where we do have religious zealot groups trying to ban and take away things from the youth, and the youth have to come out with new forms of expression to speak out against that. And I think this movie is really special. It doesn't get enough love for being that. We have the Mandalorian Season 1 vinyl. Got this at Walmart because one year at Walmart, I wish they did this every year for Black Friday. They had like every vinyl was $20 for like a week or something like that. And then we have Season 2, which I got this one on clearance for $6 at Target. Again, I'm telling you, Target is the place to go. It's one of the few used vinyls I have. But if you know me, I love Barry Manilow, so we have Barry Manilow live. I don't think I'm ever gonna listen to this, to be honest. It's just nice to have because I love Barry Manilow. Here's another great one. Journey's Greatest Hits. I mean, you gotta have all these if you're a music fan like Journey. Oof. But this was like $12 on clearance at Target. I scanned it and I was like, that can't be right. And it came out full price. But I came over to the guy and I said, look, the sticker here says on clearance for $12, but when I scan it, it says the opposite. And he hooked me up and says, you know what, I'll give it to you for the original price. It says it. And he gave it to me. It was a great deal. So can't believe he actually did that, but yeah, if you watch my videos, man, thank you so much. He does not, but you know, it's cool to pretend. The Holdovers. I love this movie. this is a movie that really hit me in my phase where I'm 22 and I graduated high school about 18, about, no, not 18, 17, 18, I forget how old I was. And so it's been about almost 5 years now. And I really went through a phase where I was just missing my teachers. They were role models in a way where some of the stuff that they were teaching me back then I didn't understand. But now I'm a little bit older, a little bit wiser. Still kind of dumb. But this movie, the kid's relationship with the teacher in this movie really reminded me of that, kind of where I'm going in life and trying to figure things out and who we are trying to be. And this is a great example of that. I watch this movie every Christmas. It's a great album. And the soundtrack to this movie is great, just the score and everything about it, and just the licensed songs they use. The art on this is great. Paul Giamatti's face on this album is just gorgeous. Just great art on that. We have the Bob's Burgers movie soundtrack, which when this movie came out, I was just obsessed with the soundtrack. I listen to this like every day. And then we have the Scott Pilgrim Takes Off vinyl, which is pretty cool. I don't think I've actually opened this and listened to it. You need to change that. But this is a great piece of Scott Pilgrim merch to have. And, Scott Pilgrim's pretty awesome. And that was a great show. Some of these, again, just been in my class. Another one that's kind of like Footloose here, Dirty Dancing. I love Dirty Dancing. Dirty Dancing doesn't mean as much to me as like Footloose does, though. And I don't know why. I kind of think of them as in the same ilk because they kind of feel like the same ilk. But then when I actually sat down and kind of watched them, they're not the same at all. And they have very different goals and things to say. I'll show you that other vinyl I didn't show you yet. I'm waiting for when I can show you as a set to do that. Anyways, we got Beauty and the Beast. This is a picture disc version of it. This is... If you were going to ask me what is the top 10 greatest movies ever made, this movie would be on it. Not the remake, of course, but this one. And it's just... no words. That movie's wonderful. I got the Ghostbusters soundtrack, because who doesn't love Ghostbusters? I ain't afraid of no ghosts. I got Fraggle Rock Back to the Rock Season 1 on vinyl. They just put out Season 2 on vinyl. Still have not grabbed that. I waited a little bit and I grabbed it. So I feel like it'll still be around. And it's cheap. It's only like $25. So it's not like I'm in a rush to get it, Also, I feel like maybe I will go down to 20 if you want to sell. I don't know. But we got La La Land. I got this at a thrift shop sealed for like $10, and I've listened to this like 1,000 times. La La Land is one of my favorite movies. It means so much to me personally on so many different levels. Tron Legacy. This score by Daft Punk is just incredible. This is what I listen to very often, and I bought that in preparation for the new Tron movie coming out. We have Bruce Springsteen's Greatest Hits. This is another one. $11 on clearance at Target. Can you believe that? Fucking Bruce Springsteen. Like, all of his greatest hits here. I mean, you can read the tracks there if you want to pause. But, I mean, that is just crazy. Bruce Springsteen is one of the most inspirational artists to me. There was so much going on in my place in time where I discovered him. I watched this movie, Blinded by the Light. My parents were very religious. They wanted me to be in that. A lot of my church leaders, when you're in church, they want you to progress to the next level, and I was like, I'm not feeling this. I kind of became a little more rebellious. Not rebellious in the sense I was doing bad things, but in the sense I was trying to figure myself out in ways that my parents didn't appreciate or understand, but it was right for me. And that movie was about a kid who had very conservative minded parents, and he's from Pakistan and living in the UK now. And then he kind of discovers his place in the world through Bruce Springsteen's music because it speaks to him, and that music started to speak to me in similar ways. This whole story. It's one of my favorite movies because of that. And it's a movie I don't really tend to watch that much or think about, but it is a movie that spoke to me at such a dark place in my life that I try not to go back to. but I often go back to because it's important that I do, so I can remind myself where I'm going, where I've been. We have the Transformers, the animated series vinyl. All that dark subject matter, and then we're Transformers. So cool that for their 40th anniversary last year, they put that out. All the music from the original cartoon, not even just from the movies. Pretty cool stuff. We got Space Jam on vinyl. Listen, this soundtrack is the best movie soundtrack of all time. You can fight me on that. Another one I found at Target, pretty cheap. The Soul, Summer of Soul. If you don't know what this is, because a lot of people don't, this is a documentary about this black kind of like festival of music that went on. And it happened right outside, when you're not right outside, very close to where Woodstock was at. And it kind of went under the radar. Not a lot of people were paying attention to it. And basically these directors found it, and they made a documentary kind of showing all of it uncut, and it was just sitting in a vault somewhere, so they released it, and it ended up on Hulu during the pandemic. This would have gone to theaters if it had not been the pandemic, from what I understand, but it is an incredible documentary if you love music history. Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Subspace Rhapsody. This is the soundtrack to that one musical episode, which is a great episode of the show. Got the Home Alone Christmas. So this is not the soundtrack to the movie like I thought it was when I bought it. It is a bunch of Christmas songs that were used in the movie. I wish it was the soundtrack to the movie because I love John Williams, and his score for that movie is one of my favorites. In the Heights. This movie is great. The soundtrack to this is great, so I had to get that. Wish. Listen, this is kind of a guilty pleasure soundtrack. I know a lot of people do not like this movie. They don't like the soundtrack. I do. I actually think it's good. So, well, not good, but I enjoy listening to it. Encanto, really great Disney soundtrack right there. Of course, you gotta have that one. The Peanuts Christmas album. I listen to this every year. That and the Elvis Christmas album. This is one I throw on quite a bit. And that music is so sad and kind of puts me in the right mood, because I will tell you, Christmas is a horrible time for me. I work a lot more, which is fine. I enjoy working, but it gets hard sometimes. It wears you out. And my seasonal depression disorder really does affect me during the holidays. I have family that is no longer with me that I miss celebrating the holidays with. Last couple years, there's been tragedy. Like, my dog died during Thanksgiving, and it's made me just very irritable and mean during the holidays, and I just don't like. But I still try to be good and enjoy the holiday, but it's hard. We have the Proud Family, Louder and Prouder on vinyl, on that Target. We have the Trolls, the first movie. I need to get the other Trolls movie soundtracks. I don't know why I don't have those. Muppets Mayhem on vinyl. Man, this show was so good, and this soundtrack was great. Super underrated if you have not seen that show. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Here's the soundtrack to Part 2, which is the picture disc version. Top Gun, the first one on vinyl. And then we have one of my favorite new additions, the Goofy movie soundtrack. And we have the Green album, which is the, if you don't know what this album is, it's basically like a bunch of Muppet songs done all by like different artists. Very amazing album, and obviously it's a parody of the White Album by the Beatles. If you can tell by the name. This one, U2's Greatest Hits. Yeah, I mean, you gotta have that. Got that on clearance for $12 at Target. I'm telling you guys. Got this one on clearance for $6 at Target. And I already had the first movie soundtrack, so now I have both movie soundtracks, which I don't love the soundtrack to Moana 2, but yeah, that is my complete vinyl collection. It is a lot larger than I remember it being. I thought I only had like 50, but there's probably more than 50 there. I didn't count. Probably should have, but yeah, there's a lot of records there. it's crazy because I used to have a really a few amount, but what I've done over the last year is kind of embrace this idea of you get one new vinyl a month. And then I'll get more if, like I said, I find those ones on Target on clearance. Because when are you ever going to find U2's greatest hits again on clearance for $12? When it's there, you grab it. You know what I mean? So, interesting stuff to think about. Let me know your thoughts. Like, share, and subscribe.